And now, brothers and sisters, there really is only one way to introduce our speaker for this afternoon, and it is simply by saying this: ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Vice President of the United States of America.
Bishop Green, my Lord. He was in here talking about Houston. In moments such as this, when we as a nation witness so much hate, conflict, and attempts to divide, it is our faith that often guides us forward.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. They promote authoritarian leaders, and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights.
Because you voted and organized in 2020 as vice president, I then was able to confront the issue of Black maternal mortality and bring that issue, which has long, for generations, plagued our community, and to bring it to the stage of the White House.
At 23.8 abortions per 1,000 women, Black women have the highest rate of abortions.
President Biden and I have appointed more Black women judges than any administration in history, including the first Black woman to ever sit on the highest court in our land. Her name is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of-
I know we all here agree. One does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree that the government should not be telling her what to do with her body.
That the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated.
So I would offer this. In order to see visually what is at stake in this moment, let's pull up a split screen. On the one side, they want to ban books. On the other side, we want to ban assault weapons.
Let's take two books that have been much discussed. All Boys Aren't Blue. And I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind.
We fight to protect the sacred freedom to vote, while they try to silence the voice of the people.
Colorado's Supreme Court has ruled Donald Trump ineligible for the White House.
Two voters from Hampton Roads are joining the effort to take former President Donald Trump off the ballot in 2024.
Now, California's lieutenant governor says she wants her state's elections office to do the same.
Maine has removed former President Donald Trump from the ballot for the Republican primary.
Do you think he should be barred from any ballots given his actions on January 6th?
Well, I support every state taking very aggressive action to keep him off the ballot.
Do you think that there's a risk here of disenfranchising voters?
I think the biggest risk of disenfranchising voters happened on January 6th.
And as Bishop said, just remember where we all were. I ask you to remember where you were 3 years ago today. January 6th, 2021. When a mob violently attacked the United States Capitol. They used brutal force and fear. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. And January 6th, 2021.
Since that day, more than 1,200 people have been charged for their assault on the Capitol. Nearly 900 of them have been convicted or pled guilty. Collectively, to date, they have been sentenced to more than 840 years in prison.
On that day, we saw violence, chaos, and lawlessness. But some so-called leaders still tried to mislead and gaslight by claiming it was a peaceful protest. Can you imagine? Like we weren't watching?
I know that there are protests still happening in major cities across the United States. I'm just not seeing the reporting on it that I had
that's right.
for the first few weeks.
That's right. But they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And they're not, this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
Fire engines can't get in here. There is no ability to bring anybody in here to solve this problem. So I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
You're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night, a second night.
Please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
The hypocrisy abounds. And at this moment in history, I say, let us not throw up our hands when it's time to roll up our sleeves. Because we were born for a time such as this. And we love our country. We believe in the principles upon which we were founded, and guided by our faith, we are prepared to fight for all that we know is right and hold dear. I got some words. I got the vocabulary, and my pronunciation is perfect.